thing that I try to focus on is, who got to decide that thin is better? Who got to decide what the standard of beauty is? Who got to decide what the right beach body looks like?
Welcome to Story Power, a bi-monthly podcast where my guests and I geek out about the stories we're passionate about in all different genres, styles, and formats. My name is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, and I started this podcast during the summer of 2020 at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. As I watched the reaction of my friends, family, and social media circle, I noticed that many people turned to stories for comfort and help in making sense of the craziness going on around them. My goal was to do the same for my listeners, but as I chatted with my guests throughout the first year, I discovered that their personal stories were the most fascinating thing about each episode. Neil Gaiman says, "Fairy tales are more than true not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten." I now know that sharing our experiences with others helps us defeat our own dragons. It is our stories that connect us to one another. Let's see what wisdom today's guest has to share with us.
Today, my guest is Tara Wyatt Treslove, and this is episode 40. And Tara, the reason I wanted you to be on my show is because you are a body image coach. And I said, oh, well, her coaching must be all about the stories we tell ourselves in our head. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is such an important conversation in the world right now. And so, I'm just grateful to get my voice out into the world and help as many people as I possibly can reach. So thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, I'm very excited about it because, of course, I'm a lot older than you, and I have struggled a lot with body image and how I see myself and how, accepting the way others see me. And so, yes, the other thing that I saw on your Podmatch profile was something about the use of words. And so both of those things go so well with Story Power. So do you want to tell a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a coach of women who struggle with body image issues, essentially all of us. And in my own journey, I discovered the power of movement as a tool in just unlocking my own inner strength and power. And it worked so well for me. But along my journey, I came to understand that it wasn't just about my body and my fitness level. It was so much more than that. And the impact that the brain has on that whole journey is so powerful. And so I couldn't possibly coach anyone without the combination of those two things, both movement and mindset, because they worked so hand in hand in my own journey. So that's what I'm doing right now. I am coaching women. I have a membership program called TWT Academy, and we do move our bodies together in fun ways that we work out, but we also learn TikTok dances and take pound classes and do all kinds of fun things with our bodies. And then we work on our mindset at the same time. Again, because they work so closely together.
Oh, that's great. That's so fantastic. So I hope you have a lot of people who are subscribing or members of your group there that you work with. Is it going well?
It is going well. I have kind of a core group right now, and we're always looking to expand the membership. I would love to reach as many people as possible through the membership. And it's such a supportive and encouraging place to be right now. The humans that are there are just incredible people, and I'm honored to be a part of their journey. And just watching their growth and their expansion and their change has been a real gift for me. So the more people, the better, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yes. So I know I've been confronted with a bunch of ideas in my head, stories that I told myself for years and years recently that I went, oh, you know what? Those aren't true at all. And so I was wondering if you had those kinds of experiences too along your journey.
100%. Yes. In fact, I just did an Instagram post last week about, the title was, I Can't, I'm Too Fat. And this is a pervading story that I constantly struggle with. I have all the tools. I have all of the tips and tricks in my own back pocket. And I coach people through that. However, it's still there. It never really, really goes away. And it's this story of, because of the size of my body, I don't get to live the same quality of life as other people. And when I'm faced with something new, for example, I'm just taking an aerial yoga class, which is so crazy and fun for me.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I'm being asked to move my body in a way that I've never done before. And often the first thought that comes in is, I can't do that. I'm too fat to do that. And it's been such a journey just breaking down that story and learning to find proof that, in fact, the opposite is true, that I am worthy to live any life I choose. I am worthy to experience any adventure that I desire. And my body will not stand in the way. My body is a wonderful, magical thing that will support me if I give it the opportunity to support me. So yeah, that's one example of these stories that we have about our shape and our size and how we fit into the world.
Really? So are there words that because I love what you wrote about words. So how do you get people to change the words or the stories that they tell themselves? How do you help them do that?
I have a workshop called a Body Freedom Workshop. And one of the first things we do in the workshop is we make a list of all the terrible, no good, very bad words that we have said to ourselves, either out loud or in our head. And even just writing the list can be really emotional and really impactful for people to actually see the words on paper. But then what we do in the workshop, and if we're not in the workshop right now, so what I would recommend is for people to take that list and send a text or call a good friend and say those things out loud to them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And in that moment, there is so much emotion that comes up, and there is so much power in that exercise, because there is no way we would ever say the words we say to ourselves to another human being, especially our friends, but even a stranger. We would never utter those words to another human being. And by asking you to do that, it creates such a sense of discomfort that it's one of the first times that my clients and my friends and my family recognize how impactful those words that they've used towards themselves have been all their lives. That they've never given it a second thought. It just comes out. The terrible things we say to ourselves, they just come out and we don't think about them. But when you really stop to think about them, those messages are destroying us. Those messages are standing in the way of us living our best lives.
That's right. Yeah. I was just remembering this was years ago. I stopped doing this years ago. But when Barry and I were first married, my husband Barry and I were first married, I used to call myself 210 Tessie. And one day he said to me, "Why are you calling yourself that? You are not fat." But I kind of walked that back and realized that it had something to do with my mom. She grew up during the Depression. She was 98 pounds when she got married. And in 1950, she and Dad got married in 1950. And so she was very, very thin. And she was always saying, "You're so much bigger than I was." And I don't think she meant it in the way of "you're fat," but of course that's how I heard it. And so when I realized, oh, that's the chain of events, then I could stop saying that. Now, I still probably had some feelings that I was not super thin or, but I look back at those pictures and I go, what was I, when we were first married, what was I thinking? I was really, what was I thinking? So,
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's something that's super important to the conversation as well, is that body image just exists in larger bodies. Body image issues exist across the spectrum of all types of bodies. And we're all having these conversations with ourselves, which is really sad.
Yes. Yes, because I've known people who are gorgeous who don't even recognize that.
Yeah, exactly. And another sort of thing that I try to focus on is, who got to decide that thin is better? Who got to decide what the standard of beauty is? Who got to decide what the right beach body looks like? Like who made those decisions? And, it's probably some like old white dude sitting in an office decided, hey, this is what I think is beautiful. So this is what everyone should think is beautiful. And really, we know there's so much more to beauty than thinness or smallness. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something on Instagram yesterday. I think it's called The Female Lead or something. And they have all these people who put little videos up. And this one was, the fashion industry dictates how we should look. So it used to be that thin eyebrows were important, or now it's thick eyebrows are good, or thin is good, or this is good. And it's all, and the whole conclusion was, it's all to sell us stuff. You need to have more eyelashes. You need to have, this thicker lips or whatever. I mean, it's all to sell us stuff.
Exactly. And to keep us in that place of believing we're not enough as we are. And if they can keep us in that place, they can continue to sell us all the things.
Yeah, that was her. I think that was even the title of it, that, lack was part of the title of it, that we live in this, I'm lacking, so I have to go buy these things to make myself better. And I just thought that was so powerful. It was really a powerful little video. So I don't know who did that, but thank you to the woman who did that.
Right. Yes, we need more of that.
We definitely do. Well, and I'm kind of, thinking of social media, I'm pretty careful about the groups I follow, but that one, The Female Lead, has all these really great, some of them are young women, some of them are old, but they're talking about what it means to be a woman and pointing out, this is a social norm that we have been living with that's wrong. So that it sounds like that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. Just, we struggle to understand that everything we think we lack really does live inside of us, and everything we're searching for lives inside of us. It's just a matter of unlocking it. And that sounds so simple, but it is not simple. It is a lifelong journey. But when we can tap into our own inner strength, our own inner power, and our own inner magic, we can start to spend more of our time, more of our money, more of our energy on making a true impact in the world, rather than trying to change ourselves or shrink ourselves. The amount of money I think that women spend trying to alter their container that they live in, it is mind-boggling. when what the world needs right now is strong, powerful women to make change, to make impact.
Yes.
We just need to get out there.
Well, I have to say that when I turned, maybe it was when I turned 65, I'm 68 now. I used to wear a lot because I have fairly small eyes and I didn't like them and I wanted them to look bigger. And so I would wear eye makeup, quite a bit of eye makeup. And my eyebrows are too light because I have light hair. And one day I just said, I don't want to take the time to put on that makeup every day, every time I go out. So I stopped. I still do kind of brush up my eye, put something on my eyebrows. So at least it looks like I have a face. And maybe a little bit of blush, but that's about it. I don't normally wear mascara or eyeliner or eyeshadow anymore, unless it's like a really special occasion. And I feel like I want to do that because it doesn't matter whether I have small eyes or not. I kind of am liking who I am now. So it doesn't really matter.
Right? It just doesn't matter. And your appearance and your body are the least interesting things about you, but they're the thing that take up all of our energy and all of our time and all of our money. And really, I am so much more than this body. There's so much more to me, and there's so much more to you. And if we could just get through that whole concept, I think the world would be a very different place.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I know that you're into this, you're coaching and helping people. But do you have any books that you read that help you, or do you make videos that help people? Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. One of my favorite books that I just finished is The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. Just the title alone is like straight to the heart, I think. And I love following her and all of her work that she's doing in the world, and just breaking down this construct of beauty and societal standards, and how we've spent our lives apologizing for the way we take up space in the world, and how that's just so unnecessary. So that book has really impacted my work a lot. I am also actually writing a book about my own journey with body freedom, and just sort of the things that have impacted my life, the tools that I used to sort of overcome and find peace in this body that I live in every day, and using my story to really impact others is my goal with that.
Oh, wow. And where are you in the process?
I'm hoping to have my first draft done by the end of this year. Yeah, I'll be on the market for editors and publishers and doing all the things in early 2022.
Yes. Well, I have spoken with several people lately who have used hybrid publishers. Like, I have a friend who owns a business, and it's about love-based leadership was her first book. So it's all, and she works with municipalities and even Fortune 500 companies, because she used to work for one. And she coaches them on how to be leaders that are tuned in to their employees and the people who work under them, and to make better teams and use love-based leadership instead of the old paradigm. And she used one. Her name is Maria Church. And then I talked to Moshe Mikanovsky, who has done a novel that's coming out in December, and he used a different. So I'm thinking, I published my first novel just independently. And I'm thinking about going with one of those hybrid presses, because you need a lot of help. I'm not very good at marketing.
Yeah.
So I kind of help a little bit with that. So.
Right. Yeah. Lots to consider. And I'm, in the beginning phases, but it just feels good to finally get my story out and share it with the world.
That's fantastic. Oh, I can't wait. You'll have to message me on Podmatch and say, "Oh, my book is coming out," and then I can interview you again.
Yes, that would be amazing. I would love that.
Good. Yes, and just writing. I don't know about you, but sometimes just writing. I keep a journal as well. It helps me go, oh, that's what's wrong, or that's what I'm thinking. I need to change that, or whatever.
Yes, for sure. It's a kind of a cathartic exercise for sure. Yeah. I've been enjoying the process. It's been an emotional roller coaster reliving some of those events and some of the, looking back and not even recognizing the impact that those kinds of things had on me and my own journey with my body and with fitness and, the language that I use towards myself and my body. So it's been a really great experience.
Oh, good. That's so fantastic. I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I know that even men have body issues because my husband has had to suspend his walking for a while because he's still working. And so trying to work in his walking around the light and dark and middle of the day. And he said the other day, I'm getting fat because I'm not walking. And I said, oh, that's ridiculous. You're not. And he went, oh, yeah. So it was sort of the payback for the 210 test that he did for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's such a socially acceptable thing to do, to poke fun, to joke at our bodies and our, a minute on the lips is a lifetime on the hips. And, we've heard it all. And it just comes out so naturally. And interestingly, it's not socially acceptable to tell a group of people how nice your bum is. Why is that not socially acceptable to walk into a group and say, hey, look at my butt today. It's looking good. People be like, oh, you're very proud of yourself. And have that negative reaction, which is complete opposite of what it needs to be. And this whole concept of building each other up is lovely. And we do that. We build each other up. We support each other. Why are we doing that for ourselves?
I know, that's true.
Why are we slowly picking away at ourselves with jokes and comments and, It's so damaging. That's been interesting for me to sit with, my friends and even in social situations. And no matter what, the conversation always comes back to our bodies. First of all, it's such a waste of conversation time. And second of all, it's never in a good way. And I find myself stepping away from those conversations. If it's someone I love dearly, I find myself, using touch a lot. I'll put my hand on their hand and they'll look at me and know right away that what they've done. And they're like, oh, I take it back. I'm fine the way I am, So paying attention to those conversations, even in a joking sort of capacity, is so important.
I wonder where that did come from, because we should be just so happy to be who we are, but we're not.
We're not. Yeah, we're not. And, I don't know where it came from. I'd like to blame the diet industry. I'd like to blame the patriarchy. I'd like to blame a lot of things, but, the whole point is that it starts to change with each of us. And if I could change it for me, and if I can impact as many people as possible and change it for them, eventually maybe that conversation will change.
Yeah. It creates ripple effect. Well, do you have anything else you want to say? any other like books that you recommend?
You know what? I think for me, the biggest, there's lots of really cool movies out now that are, addressing body image issues and doing it in a really good way. I think just being cautious of the lens that you read some of the things through is really important, and being able to recognize, when the message is, when you're ready to receive the message, I guess is something that's really important. And there's people that aren't. There's people that aren't ready. And if you're not ready, that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person.
Right.
But when you are ready, it's out there. The books and the movies and the people, the influencers on Instagram, there's a whole space out there that when you can start to consume those things instead of the diet culture and the stereotypical perfect bodies and those types of things, your brain changes, your conversation changes. And honestly, my best piece of advice is just that practice makes perfect. And we're not trying to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect in this body freedom journey. No matter how far you are along the spectrum, you will always wake up and have bad body days, and that's okay. It's knowing that it's practice and it's grace, and telling yourself in the mirror every day that you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are valuable. I know it sounds a little cheesy, but it works, and it's changing your brain's message to yourself, and you deserve to hear those messages, and you don't need to hear them from anyone else. You need to hear them from yourself.
That's right. Well, that reminds me of Louise Hay's mirror exercise, where you look yourself in the eye and say, I love you. Oh, I've done it. It's hard. It's hard to do it at first.
It is hard. And, I've expanded that concept all the way to like naked dance parties in my bathroom, and just not being afraid. And this is my body, and I've spent so many years trying to shrink it, trying to change it. It's time to celebrate it. It's time to celebrate ourselves in these bodies, and know that, again, it's the least interesting thing about me. I have so much more to offer the world than what I look like.
That's right. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love it. Tara, that's great.
Thank you.
Well, do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
Oh, I could talk for hours, but no, I think we're on track. I think we're on the track.
Okay, good. Oh, thank you so much for being my guest, because I feel like crying. I love your mission. I love your mission.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel pretty strongly about it.
Yes, I can tell. So, thank you so much for talking to me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the show. If you like what you heard, please share it with a friend and give us a review on your favorite podcast app. It will help people find us. You'll find the show notes for this episode at my website, Sage Woman Chronicles, at sagewoman.life. You can leave a comment there. And remember, as Philip Pullman said, after nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.